Que bueno, mi personas. Welcome to an all-new CUjO Fett, the culture-friendly live stream where I chat with my friends, foes, and some timeline companions along the way. My guest today is one such person. But before we get there, what is CUjO Fett? CUjO Fett is a community stream. It's a stream where we can talk about characters, actors, culture, what you enjoy. So that's what CUjO Fett is bringing to the live stream space on the semi-weekly. Uh, as last week, I'll do a little bit of my Fett kind of what would I call it? My Fett DNA. What stuff I like, what I like about the best designed character in all of fiction, and of course that's fodder for conversation. But tonight, as I did with the first one, I'm going to talk about why I like the Book of Boba Fett, and we'll start there. You know, I am on the fence about adding some music to those transitions, but of course, the real ones know that that's a transition for Shadows of the Empire. So cheers there. Of course, I'm drinking Bing all natural juice energy drink. Why wouldn't I? Bottled here in Colorado. Cheers, folks. Let's not waste any time. You guys are here to talk about Fett. I'm also curious, when do people listen to Fett conversation content? It's perhaps a question for another time. I do have a question for this stream, and this is posed to any of the good folks swinging through. So I'll drop that right now. It's a question I was asking at the convention this weekend, but what's your favorite mountain? I don't know, it's random. It's random. Of course, I'll talk about mine when we get there. But what's your favorite mountain? Let's talk the Book of Boba Fett. A lot of people call it uneven, Mandalorian 2.5, but how can you miss out on the subtleties? Last weekend, I mentioned Ming-Na Wen, somebody the BBC calls one of the most 100 influential women in the world. She was fighting on screen with Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's how long she's been in the game. Still turning up on Marvel. She's a legend in the sci-fi game. She's Boba Fett's partner. How do you beat that? Bing. Reason number 2 why I like the Book of Boba Fett. A gentleman named Danny Trejo. I'll start out by saying that I enjoy his work. It's both rugged, but also soulful in a lot of ways, and I'll explain that. I ran into Danny Trejo a couple times. Once at Denver Fan Expo, where I was just looking at him from a distance while he was handing out some good vibes. But back in the day, I manned a grill for a catering company, and one time we got this gig to cater for a Harley Davidson convention in the LA Hills. Guest of honor is guess who? Danny Trejo. Of course, I'm behind the scenes. I can man a grill, deal with it. And after it's all over, you know, you're just hearing the buzz. Danny Trejo comes back and starts thanking everybody on the staff personally. You're asking, am I a Danny Trejo fan? I am. A dude who's been in the Hooskow, who served time, a dude who's lived it. You can see it in his eyes. El Tortuga, by the way. But yeah, that's reason number 2 that Book of Boba Fett is okay by me. And you know, he did humanize a previously hideous creature, even though the first Rancor dude cried. I think Danny Trejo was the Rancor. That's food for thought, you know. Before I get to my guest, is there anything else? Yeah, I'm going to flash the question one more time. If you come in late, what's your favorite mountain? we were doing conventions this weekend, and that question came up a couple times. So I'll take those in the comments. Um, let's not keep my next guest waiting any longer. First, before he comes on, a dude whom I encountered his timeline on Twitter, which is now X. A dude who always brings good vibes to the communities he's in, be it Indiana, be it Star Wars, whatever he finds himself in. But he does turn up at conventions quite a bit, like myself. He enjoys rubbing elbows with the folks that know. So let's bring him in. Welcome to my good man, Jedi Master Daniel 96. How are you doing, my man?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Dude, you know when you're on CUjO Fett, you've made it in the indie circuit. So let's see. The first time we crossed paths was maybe two Denver Fan Expos ago. I kind of stalked you on the con floor, bumped into you. Did you know who I was at that time?
Not too sure, because I think, we had all the Twitter interaction before that, and then we met at Fan Expo Denver. Yeah, it was 2023.
Dude, time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and honestly, any friend you meet on X, yeah, everybody's timeline is out of pocket sometimes. Yours isn't. Daniel's great at social media, so if you're looking, you know where to find him. But yeah, we had a chat. I kind of knew that your Star Wars fandom is more couched in the new era, isn't it? Or am I assuming too much?
It could be a mix of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then let's talk some Boba Fett. Were you hip to Django first? Is that your era, or how did you kind of come into the Fett knowledge?
I was exposed to Star Wars through episodes 1 and 2, so Django and then Boba, because I saw the original trilogy along the way.
Now, of course, with a name like Jedi Master Daniel, you may or may not be cool with Mandos. Has your Star Wars allegiance shifted at all? Is that name still true to you?
I just have it as a random name,
Hey, I got to put you on the spot, brother. You know. Are you a fan of Fett, or is he just kind of like looks like Tarzan, hits like Jane? What's your
Um,
thoughts on Fett?
I don't really mind Boba Fett, to be honest. I
You got
mean,
to give me more than that.
yeah.
What sticks out to you about him? The design, the presence, Empire Strikes Back. What's your favorite Fett appearance?
Whew. I actually think some of the Clone Wars episodes are pretty good too. You got to give those credit.
True.
The Clone Wars episodes.
Fett has turned up in animation. His first appearance was animation. So,
Yeah, the holiday special.
oh yeah, everybody remembers that fondly, of course, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take ourselves out of our elements for a second. Let's put you in the original trilogy. Give me your 3 favorite hunters and the why.
Ooh, this is quite a good question. I'm not like someone who's that much immersed in bounty hunters, but I guess I'll pick a random
Dude,
list.
I've seen you reading those books. I know you
Yeah.
know.
I don't know. This may sound random. So original trilogy: Boba Fett, Bosk, and Dengar. I guess. I guess I'll go with that.
Dengar's an interesting cat. Yeah, he deserves his own chat. They kind of gave him a more nuanced backstory than you'd ever anticipate for a dude that's like wrapped up in toilet paper. So
Yeah.
hey, man, good for him. Um, let's talk conventions. Let's talk conventions, my man. First of
Uh,
all, if you're trying to catch up with Daniel, let me throw some banners at you. Daniel turns up online. He'll drop content, some convention content, etc. Of course, you can find him right there. Um, You go to a lot of cons, and I'd love to hear maybe your favorite or one you're anticipating. But let's talk the Denver Fan Expo for a second. You've met some folks there. What did how did you enjoy your experience this time? And yeah, let's start there.
Let's see. I mean, last year at Fan Expo met Sam Raimi, as we know, director of the Spider-Man trilogy, and that was a lot of fun, and it was cool to chat with him
Hmm.
and got to ask him a bit about his unmade Spider-Man 4.
Nice, nice. Do
Yeah, and then
you
I met, Vivian Lila Blair at the one we met at, and got an autograph from her, the one who plays the younger Leia in the Kenobi
hmm
show.
Are
And
you okay
then,
with her outrunning adults? I know I hate
yeah.
to put you on the spot.
hmm And then
Okay.
also this year I met, Brie Larson and Ashley Eckstein at Fan Expo Denver.
Hmm. And Fan Expo's that's a great convention, isn't it? It's always pretty smooth. It was super packed. How long have you been going to conventions?
I think first one was when it was Denver Comic Con in 2016.
Hmm.
What about you?
Whew. Well, I mean, when I got into media, I had a lot of excess, and thank you for asking, oh man. Um, I worked around Long Beach, which had a convention center, and of course, everybody wants to come to the coast for their conventions. So I basically had a free reign of aerospace cons, complex cons, um, and I enjoy the energy just because I go for like the indies. I go for running into folks like you, just because I enjoy normal folks, bumping around. Um, I do enjoy the celebrities as well. You said you met young Leia Brie Larson. Is there any kind of specific when you go into a meeting like that? Are you anticipating anything, or do you have questions lined up, or you just kind of roll with it?
Just kind of roll with it.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I'll talk a couple of my favorite guests, but uh, let's see, what else did I have here? Um, Yeah, that's what I was curious about because that's a lot of stuff you turn up on your YouTube and stuff like that. Just
hmm
curious, are you looking forward to any conventions on your horizon? Running into any folks there?
Um, Not sure. I mean, I have a ticket for New York Comic Con this fall, and not sure who I'll meet there and all that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And also, I've been to like 3 Star Wars celebrations so far, and that's been a lot of fun meeting people from the online community and all the different content creators and all that stuff.
Indeed, indeed. Are you trying to make it to Star Wars Celebration in Japan this year?
I'd like to. Hopefully, I can make it, but who knows?
Well, obviously, if you make it over there, well, CUjO Fett will host you so you can catch us up on all the juicy details. Does that sound
Uh,
right?
yeah. I mean,
Um, Go ahead.
oh, you go ahead. I lost my train of thought.
Hey, CUjO Fett does that.
Yeah.
No, I would say before I let you go, the first episode of CUjO Fett, I mentioned found footage. Are you a fan of cinema? Are you a fan of found footage films?
Um, what kind of footage? Can you repeat that?
Found footage, like found footage horror, that kind of thing. Is that on your radar, or is it just that niche?
I don't mind found footage.
Mm. You got any that come to mind?
Not really.
All right, Jedi Master Daniel. Hang out in the lobby, or I'll catch you in the timeline, of course. Thank you for making time. And honestly, that's exactly why you're a fan of Star Wars, because folks from several decades apart can say Boba Fett's cool for this reason. Um, just because we got you talking hunters, give me your favorite hunter from the sequel trilogy.
Ooh, I'm not too sure on that one.
Are you hip to Crimson Corsair or whatever? He got like 5 minutes, looked like a hammerhead shark, and then we never saw him again. You know what I'm talking about, right?
mm, I'd have to probably get a picture or something.
Killing me, man. Killing
Yeah.
me. All right, Daniel. Hey, it's a pleasure, brother. Thank you for making time. And yeah, I'll see you on the X.
All right, see you around.
Well, chatting with Daniel, good dude. Turns up on his timeline, sports, all that. We're triple threats. We're multi threats. That's what we do. But thank you for coming on, Daniel. Appreciate you. Uh, let's see. Daniel attended Denver Comic Expo, Fan Expo. I had the pleasure of attending Colorado Springs Comic Con. Um, this was the first time I did not get a press pass, and I could probably put that chip on my shoulder. But because I have friends, I did get in. I did get in. I got a press pass in the 11th hour. So I did get in, and I was able to chat with some good folks. Greg Baldwin, you might know him from certain animation, but solid dude, candid, real. I cut that audio up, and in the compression, yeah, a little polish was lost, but there's some good words there. I was able to talk to Ariel Diaz, a very talented artist, somebody who's worked in the CUjO community. So it was a pleasure to chat with her. I'll cut that interview up and get it online in the near future. But it kind of, there's always an experience at cons, and everybody's there for different reasons. As independent media, stuff like that, you'd love access. You'd love more access. Of course, every time a convention's in town, I do dig into folks. I'll see somebody, oh, of course I know that person, but do I know their entire career? So along that path, if you talk Star Wars, if you talk Fett, if you talk G.I. Joe, CUjO will find you. The $6 million man, Lee Majors, happened to be at Colorado Springs Comic Con this weekend. He did have folks in line. I waited in line. When I was looking at Lee Majors, of course, you know, for probably our parents' generation, the dude was straight money, $6 million man. But when I was looking at him, I noticed that early in life, he lost both his folks before he even knew them. And all of a sudden, you know, that those questions became really interesting. You know, somebody who never had a sense of safety, stuff like that. Somebody who was defined by being the money man, the man with all the answers. So I did come up and I was like, does Mr. Majors have 3 minutes? 3 questions. And the lady who was there, who was really cool, she goes, he's under contract. It's not allowed under his contract. Mm-hmm. Honestly, what are we doing? What are we doing? Yeah, no, I think I would have loved to have asked those questions. If you're talking about con questions, who done it? I think Lee Majors, for me, at Colorado Springs Comic Con. Why am I saying this? Because I have a signal. Mr. Majors, if you're out there, CUjO Fett is for you. By the way, not too many folks know that Lee Majors was General Abernathy in the G.I. Joe Renegades cartoon. So he's a real American hero, my man. My peeps. Last thing about Lee Majors, he was also in a comedy that hit back in the day. Do you remember Out Cold, the snowboarding movie? He was like the dude that owned the mountain. He had this line in that movie. Remember the golden rule. He who has the gold card makes the rules. I think Fett would agree with that. And I would have loved to have asked him, you know, after all this time in the spotlight, after never having any structure, you know, what would he say about money? What's the truest thing about money? Anyway, put that into the ether. That's the con question. What ifs? I have them at every convention. You never get to everybody, but yeah. With CUjO Fett winding down, I appreciate the folks in here. Let's see what we got for comments. Oh, Thagon, I appreciate you, my man. Thank you, brother. Yeah, keep dropping in. Get in the comments with your favorite mountain. I'm here for that. As we wrap up another culture-friendly CUjO Fett, just want to remind folks that CUjO Fett is your stream. You got something to talk about, Fett? That's what I'm here for. If you are doing an indie comic, reach out. Reach out. You can find me on YouTube. You can find my email. Anyway, yeah, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Yeah. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. And until next time, this has been CUjO Fett.